I remember this young lady, she had just gotten vaccinated. She's African American, and she goes home and she talks to her grandmother. Grandma, you need to be vaccinated. Grandma says, absolutely not. I don't trust the healthcare system. I don't trust any of these people. I'm not going to get vaccinated. The young lady says, well, Mom, the lady who vaccinated me is African American. She says, well, in that case, take me, I want to get vaccinated. The message is important, but so is the messenger.
Data and science and study have shown that African American individuals are much less likely to be enrolled into a clinical trial. So the EQB Med initiative is going to address this major and critical problem in our community.
EQB Med initiative positions us at Texas Southern University to actually have access to innovative and breakthrough clinical studies. We do a lot of work to increase awareness about clinical research participation, but without an opportunity to actually open access for individuals to participate and to build trust in clinical trial process, we are very limited.
Pharmacy is a very important team in communication with the community. And we are not only have a PharmD program, we also have a PhD program. With that, we have more outreach to the community.
We are the #1 producers of African American pharmacists in the state of Texas. Pharmacists are a significant part of the healthcare team. They're able to immunize patients. They're able to help them in a variety of health settings per se.
TSU had the RCMI support back in 1980s, especially in terms of research infrastructure. So the students and scientists can conduct most cutting-edge research, especially in the area of drug discovery and development.
In 2024, the College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences celebrated its existence of over 70 years. We lead a lot of initiatives advancing health equity, training community health workers, providing continuing education for community health workers as well as for our pharmacy and health administration students.
In this initiative, we are going to partner with UTMB, Yale University, and Morehouse School of Medicine. We will be able to gain more experience and resources and guidance on how to recruit for clinical trial and how to conduct clinical trials.
So this clinical research initiative under the EQB Med funding mechanism allows us not just to provide opportunities for clinical trial participation for community members, but it creates a platform for us to train the next generation of pharmacists that will be culturally competent, that will have an high level of awareness of engaging with community members to promote the concept of diversity and equal representation in clinical research participation. Hello, my name is Veronica Ajawale Mwema. I am a professor of pharmacy practice here at Texas Southern University, where I also have the privilege to serve as the Assistant Vice President for Clinical Translational Research and Community Engagement. I am the founding director for the TSU Health Mobile Unit Initiative, and I am very excited to share this initiative with you. The TSU Mobile Health Unit is a 40-foot fully equipped, wheelchair-accessible, telehealth-ready mobile unit with a screening mammogram room, clinical services room, and a community engagement room. There is an expandable awning on both sides of the TSU Mobile Health Unit with a large screen outdoor TV on the outside panel for community education. This allows us to engage with community members outdoors while also providing various clinical services inside the unit. The back panel of our mobile units allows us to highlight our different programs and sponsors. We are extremely delighted to share that the TSU Mobile Health Unit has capacity to bring cancer screening and health services directly to you in the community.
The community engagement room in our mobile health unit provides a private space for patient check-in as well as community engagement activities. This room also features a TV screen that allows our community members to view educational programs while waiting to receive clinical services. Our wheelchair-accessible mammogram suite is equipped with a state-of-the-art mammogram equipment, allowing us to offer high-quality 3D screening mammograms in the community.
Our state-of-the-art clinical service room on the unit allows us private spaces to provide clinical services and preventive health care services, including high blood pressure screening, hemoglobin A1C for diabetes, and cholesterol screening, as well as lab sample collections that can be stored in our hospital-grade refrigerators or freezers. The room is also telehealth ready, allowing us to connect several rural communities with clinical services seamlessly.
We can also engage with the community about different clinical research initiatives, including enrollment in our clinical research registry, evaluation for interventional or non-interventional studies, as well as educating the community about various clinical research programs.
This private space allows a community member to engage with a clinical pharmacist, answering medication-related questions and providing the needed support to improve health outcomes.
The TSU Mobile Health Unit initiative also positions TSU to lead the way in civic engagement, research, and training of future healthcare professionals and social support staff who have a deep understanding of the community and a commitment to advancing health outcomes in the community.
This is TSU Mobile Health Unit, bringing cancer screening and health services to you.
Hello, my name is Veronica, Program Director of Texas Southern University's Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center, where we transform women's health in breast cancer care and provide mental health services in underserved communities.
In the past 3 years, we have provided mammograms to over 1,400 women.
We have reached women in their neighborhoods through mobile mammogram services,
Eliminating barriers like transportation costs and access to care.
Our holistic approach doesn't just stop at screenings. We provide navigation, care coordination, and treatment assistance, ensuring no woman is left behind.
We also provide breast health education in diverse languages, addressing anxiety, concerns, and misconceptions about mammograms.
We have established a vast network of over 100 partners, received 5 proclamations, and fully executed over 10 memorandums of understanding.
What sets us apart is our grassroots engagement. We build trust in our community, combining cutting-edge technology with personalized care.
Our vision is to expand our reach and ensure equitable access to breast and mental health services to underserved women.
We believe in saving lives,
Strengthening our communities,
advancing health equity
for all women.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is right at 12 noon, the top of the hour. I want to appreciate everyone for joining us this, hopefully sunny in your area because it is on my side here, but this sunny Wednesday afternoon. I want to thank you all for joining us at Texas Southern University Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center. Today's theme is, or title of our health education is Thriving Beyond the Diagnosis. Life after breast cancer diagnosis. And I want to just take just a few minutes to also acknowledge the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas for their funding for this program. And I'm gonna move right ahead. Let's see. I am trying to go to my next screen. Give me 1 minute. Okay. I'm just telling us a little bit about ourselves. We are, again, the Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center. Our goal is to provide breast cancer screening and diagnostics. We provide this to both uninsured and underinsured women. We also provide patient navigation and barrier reduction services for women who have been screened and need for their services. We also provide breast cancer awareness and education, which is what we're doing right now. And if I have to say, this is actually our year 2, quarter 1 breast cancer education, health education that we are doing. So we're really happy for entering into our second year. Just a little bit more about ourselves. We serve 9 counties currently. That is Harris, Grimes, Managota, Walker, Wharton, Brazoria, Galveston, Polk, and Trinity counties. The first grant cycle we received from CPRIT, which is the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas, we received a $1 million grant to screen 1,350 women. We screened a little over 1,400 women. This second grant cycle, which runs from June 1st of last year to May of 2028, we received $2 million to also screen women. Till counting, we have screened over 2,000 women, provided education to over 5,000 women, as well as navigation services to over 6,800 women. So we're really grateful to be able to do such great work. And of course, this is the team. Dr. Veronica Ajewole Mwema is our principal investigator and also program director. I'm a co-program director. My name is Nkechi Ogbo. I should have said that at first. My name is Nkechi Ogbo, first of all. I am a research assistant professor, as well as senior program manager for health services and community engagement. But here for Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center program, I am one of the co-program directors. Dr. Gonzalez there is our breast medical oncologist and also a co-investigator. And we've got Dr. Duha Alkayat, who is a primary care provider. Monique Gongora is our wonderful program manager too. She helps with quite a number of programs we run, including the breast cancer program. Dr. Rodney Hunter is also a co-investigator for this program. Ms. Rosalia Guerrero is our wonderful community health worker instructor. She is a co-investigator that also helps us to reach out to make sure that our materials are culturally tailored, and also to help us with access to community health workers. Lara O'Toole is our wonderful health literacy consultant. So what she does is make sure that every communication material we send out is at a level, at a language that anyone can understand, or pretty much our community members can understand, from the 7th grade level and above. Ms. Amanda Hackler is our program evaluator, so all the surveys that come through, she evaluates them for us. Ms. Lauren Hunt is also in this webinar. She's our program coordinator and helps to liaise with all our wonderful partners. Ms. Dolores Ramirez is our care coordinator, as well as Ms. Kiki Jones. Then Ms. Neha also is a community health education and outreach coordinator too. She also helps with crafting our CHW evaluation and any other and every other also goes out to outreaches for us. Ms. Cassie Thompson is our wonderful administrator, and she helps us with everything paperwork and money-wise. And this is our mobile health unit, which you probably saw a glimpse of in the preceding video. But please, if you know anyone who is looking to help fund, we are really looking for partners and donors who can assist us in taking this out to the community to serve our community members. Then just a little bit more about our other programs. Now, this initiative is also a baby of Dr. Veronica Ajewole Muemes, and pretty much since its launch in 2025, which is our community-focused clinical research program, we've been able to get the buy-in of over 300 people who are interested in knowing more about our clinical research program, and over 180 people have fully consented to be part of clinical research. Now, what does all this mean? So pretty much we have been able to establish in partnership with UTMB, a clinical research registry, pretty much to give us access to people who are interested in being part of research, and also to the companies who are doing research. So people go ahead and send and give us their information, and we send them. And one thing about consent is that you can always retract at any time. So say you as consented to being part of this registry, let's say this month in June, and in August you don't want to be part of it, just all you have to do is just to contact us, give us a call, and we can take you out. But this is to pretty much let out everybody be part of research, so that when these drugs are being made and being sent out, then you can know you had a role to play on making the drug approved. So please, if you're interested, there in the chat box there is also like a link that you can fill out your information for us to contact you, as well as just scanning the QR code here. All right. Thank you again for joining us. To our online attendees, I appreciate you. If you have questions, go ahead and post that on the Q&A box. Please, please, please fill out the survey link, because our grant funders want to hear about what you guys think about how our program is doing, and we cannot send any feedback unless we hear from you guys. For our community health workers, you are welcome to this event. You are going to be receiving free unaccredited CE hours, but please, to be able to get those certificates out to you, you've got to complete the survey and evaluation to receive credit. So please, please, we are tracking those who do this, and then within 2 weeks we should be able to send out your certificates to you. We are currently streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so please share the link and to anyone who you feel will benefit from this. And of course, stay connected to us by following us on social media and subscribing to our mailing list. We also have a website where you can also follow us if you want to, and just by scanning this QR code here, that will send you to any of our information as well. Thank you. Now, without much further ado, this event is going to be just a panelist session, because we want to hear from our survivors and answer any questions you might have. And please, 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 we would love this to be engaging and interactive. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat box. Now, if there's any question that we don't answer here, we will try to make sure it's answered, and we're going to post the question on our link tree. Without much further ado, I'm going to introduce our highly esteemed moderator for today's event. She is also a six-year breast cancer survivor. Now, Ms. Lindsay Levingston is the founder and executive director of Survive Her, a nonprofit dedicated to improving breast health outcomes for women through access, education, and wellness. She's a seasoned multimedia personality and very sought-after speaker. Her career spans roles as a TV news anchor, a reporter, and a producer. She was diagnosed with stage 2B triple-negative breast cancer in 2019, and she underwent treatment and was declared cancer-free in 2020. She transformed her experience into purpose, founding Survive Her to inform, to inspire, and empower women. Under her leadership, the organization has impacted thousands and earned national recognition with features in Essence, Oprah Daily, and NBC News. And if I might add myself to this robust resume, we have had the pleasure of working with her. She's doing great things. Please do follow her on our social media platform. And we're really, really pleased and honored that you will join us this afternoon, Lindsay. Thank you so much. Now, on the next panelist is a breast oncologist, Dr. Jessica Trevino-Jones. She's an associate professor of oncology at the Long School of Medicine, UT San Antonio. She's the director of clinical genetics at Mays Cancer Center and the founder and director of Care Cancer Risk Reduction and Education at Mays Cancer Center, UT Health San Antonio, MD Anderson. Her work in implementation science resulted in 2 innovative clinical programs across the University of Texas system with a focus on early cancer detection and prevention. She works closely with public health, primary care, and has developed a novel clinical care delivery system for enhanced cancer risk assessments and concurrent innovative interventional strategies for early detection. She collaborates with basic research scientists and educators internationally. She's a first-generation Latina college graduate and physician. Her advocacy extends beyond the clinical setting, and she often lends her expertise to local and national news syndicates as an expert advisor, as well as patient advocacy. We're a pleasure to have you join us, Dr. Jones. Thank you so much. Okay, and next is Ms. Robin Tanya Humphreys. She's a seasoned nonprofit and higher education executive, serving as executive director of TSU's foundation. With a career spanning advancement, fundraising strategy, and organizational leadership, she has led multi-million-dollar initiatives that expand access and opportunity for underserved communities. She is known also for her disciplined approach to governance, financial stewardship, and institutional partnerships. A champion for student success and equity, she brings a strategic, results-driven lens to philanthropy while cultivating meaningful relationships that advance mission-driven impact and long-term sustainability. We thank you. I don't know if she's on the call, but I'm going to go ahead to the next person. Now, not last, not least, is our last panelist, Ms. Janice Walkoff. She is actually a 38-year breast cancer survivor. Now, her fight turned into victory for her and advocacy for others. As a 38-year breast cancer survivor, her motto is, "I am on a mission, not remission." For the last 15 years, she has served as executive director of Angels Surviving Cancer, Inc., a nonprofit breast cancer survivors organization. Angels seek to encourage, empower, and educate the community about the importance of assisting those undergoing treatment beyond by addressing the entire spectrum of needs through advocacy, financial, emotional, and spiritual support. We thank you all for joining us today. And please, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and if you want to say a thing or two, and I'm going to let Ms. Lindsay do her thing while I go off mute. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Obo and the TSU breast cancer team. Can we just give a virtual applause to the TSU team for the incredible work they are doing to raise awareness, to educate communities, to impact women? Just shout out to you. It is incredibly my honor to moderate today's discussion alongside my survivor sisters, my breasties, and medical experts. You know, when someone hears the words, "you have breast cancer," life changes instantly, as it did for me in 2019. But there's a tremendous amount of focus on diagnosis and treatment. But what really happens after treatment ends? Yes, you ring the bell, you complete radiation, you're healed from surgeries, but survivorship has just begun. A whole new journey, a whole new life lies ahead. So today we're going to talk about the physical, emotional, mental, and practical realities of life after breast cancer. We'll explore what it means to move forward after treatment, the importance of ongoing care, and how research continues to improve outcomes for survivors. So whether you're a survivor, caregiver, healthcare professional, or advocate, I really hope that today's conversation resonates with you and that you leave informed, inspired, and empowered, which is Survivor's mission. So let's get started. Miss Janice, you are truly a beacon of pink light in the breast cancer community here in Houston, as you've been a breast cancer survivor for 38 years, which is a blessing. And I personally look to you, you know this, for inspiration and encouragement, but just share briefly, share with us your breast cancer journey and what survivorship has really looked like for you for nearly 4 decades.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on the TSU. Just an absolute Awesome. Uh, so I was diagnosed at age 32, stage 1 inside 2. And the experience was really good. I had a good experience, but a few months after that, I had a reoccurrence, and that's when I had to deal with chemotherapy. It was a very, very time season in life. But today I am blessed to be a long-term thriver, and I use the journey to educate and to encourage and to just help others through this journey. I answer both.
Thank you, Ms. Janice. And yes, you have done so much work through Angels Surviving Cancer and using and leveraging your journey, your testimony to really help women navigate the path. So thank you for all that you have done and all that you continue to do. Dr. Jones, passing the pink microphone to you. You are an incredible breast oncologist and you're deep in research. But from a medical perspective, what does breast cancer survivorship really mean? And what are some of the most common long-term effects survivors may experience after treatment?
Thank you for the question, Lindsay. And can I just say it is such an honor to be alongside all of these amazing women. So thank you to all who are listening. You know, Janice, I really hope survivorship has gotten a lot better than whenever you had experienced it. And you too, Robin, I hope so. And Lindsay as well. We have made, I would like to think, tremendous change because the way that people say survivorship begins after treatment, I disagree. And I think we need to change the narrative. Survivorship really starts at diagnosis. As a medical oncologist, I can speak to how I care for and work with women. It's my role to help a woman reclaim herself beyond cancer. So whether she is on chemo or whether she's recovering through surgery, whether she's navigating radiation, perhaps she's on medication that she may take for 2, 3, 5, maybe even 10 years. She is not cancer. It is my job to empower her and not forget that while she is surviving cancer, she starts survivorship from the very beginning. She is a woman. She may be a wife. She may be a mom. She's definitely a daughter. She's a friend. She's so many other things. And so survivorship to me is about rebuilding. It's about finding the new normal. And I really hope that if there are any survivors on the call, I hope someone listening really feels seen. Because she's not crazy, you're not crazy. Lindsay, your other part of your question was, Dr. Jones, what are some of those long-term side effects? And honestly, whether your journey included chemo or not, whether you had this surgery or that surgery, whether or not you had the radiation, every woman, you all have very similar long-term side effects, which include changes in energy. And that can change too, based on the medicines that doctors like I may prescribe to you after it all. Anxiety about reoccurrence. These thoughts, these changes in mood and the way that we perceive life and our relationships, that is it's not spoken about, but very common. We expect all women to go through this. It's uncomfortable, but we should talk about there are going to be changes in your sexual health. There's going to be changes as well in body image. And there's going to be new challenges that will face a woman if she's in the workplace or maybe even in her relationships. But she's not failing if she's struggling. And if you're a survivor and you're struggling, you're not failing. We need to rewrite the narrative because you are surviving. And so some of these side effects I know we'll talk about more. And of course, I hope to hear from some of these beautiful survivors that I'm next to on this panel, on this call. But they are manageable if we change the narrative to talk about it. It's not just about prescribing medicines. It's about rebuilding your life.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. I really appreciate that you said survivorship starts at the onset of diagnosis. How empowering and encouraging is that? Because oftentimes we think, I have to get to the bell ringing, I have to complete radiation, I have to heal from my mastectomy. And now survivorship begins. But you've just taught me something that really it started at that initial onset of hearing those words, you have breast cancer. I also appreciate that you said, and reminded me of Congresswoman Maxine Waters, it was like reclaiming my time, but reclaiming my new normal, reclaiming my body, reclaiming that woman who was pre-diagnosis living her everyday life. And then unfortunately, we got that news, but there's so many facets of life after breast cancer diagnosis. There are so many facets that we deal with day to day. You shared that some women may experience, sexual health challenges now. These are real things that we have to talk about and not be afraid to just speak about it and become empowered to share our own personal journey. So thank you so much, Dr. Jones, for just really putting it out there and being real, because survivorship is real. Passing now the pink microphone to Ms. Watson. Ms. Watson, I know that we want to hear more about your breast cancer journey, of course, and what led you to participate in a clinical trial. There's a lot of stigma around clinical trials, so we'd love for you to debunk some of those myths and share a little bit about what encouraged you to participate in a clinical trial.
Well, thank you so much. I'm pretty honored to be on this esteemed panel with all of you. And what I would say to you is, I think I concur with everything that's been said up until this point, but I would also add that I think it's really important that you have advocacy in your medical journey. I mean, to get the cancer diagnosis it can feel very devastating. And if you do not have someone with you or people who are able to help you decode what is in your best interest to have that survival mentality from the diagnosis, I think you need to, it's the ability to be objective and to process the information to be able to get to an excellent result. So I was confronted with some pretty startling, with a pretty startling diagnosis, and was asked to partake in a clinical trial that believed that it would help. And I had a little different diagnosis. I was ER/PR, estrogen receptor, progesterone receptor negative, but I was highly HER2 positive. And that is not a very typical presentation of breast cancer. And I think that I was treated at the Mayo Clinic. So I had gone to a research place, and I do recommend that I think it's important, especially for African American and the Latina community, that I think it's really important that we seek out, quality care, culturally sensitive care, to meet our needs, to have the best rates of survival. And so there was an opportunity to do a clinical trial. There was a woman by the name of Dr. Edith Perez, who was actually one of the principals on this particular trial. And I was one of 5 Black women in the entire study. Now, why was it important for me to do it? Which I was very terrified to do it, but it was important for me to do it because we need our information out there to determine if those treatments will work. Now, I do believe that, and I encountered problems. I do not want to mislead anyone. It's not an easy journey. I mean, I had 7 cycles of chemotherapy. I had a lot going on. But what I will say is I do believe to this day that drug trial probably saved my life. I mean, and it only had, in the actual ending of the study, it only had incremental success coupled with the other, with Herceptin. But even with that incremental success, I do believe that, I might have benefited from that incremental piece. So I'm a very big advocate of clinical trials. I am also an advocate that you need to have really, you got to have advocacy. You need someone who's helping you think extremely clear so that you understand exactly what is happening, not just to your body and your emotional state, but the potential of what the drugs, the impacts of the drugs will mean to you. Because I do think that as a minority community, we've got to be far more engaged in that part because there are aspects to us that different things happen differently. I'm just a big advocate, and I'm very supportive in the breast cancer community with Black and Hispanic women, making sure that we're thinking through. Sometimes our diagnosis can seem less than someone else's, but in reality can be more. And so it's really important that you engage in your healthcare. And I'm happy to talk more, but I'm going to hand it back to you. And if you have any other additional questions, I can go deep on it, but I want to make sure we're sharing the air on this because we all have so much to say.
Robin, thank you so much for just really being transparent about your experience and for encouraging survivors to lean into their advocacy voice and to use their voices through their journeys and to consider clinical trials as options, as a type of treatment. I thought that clinical trial meant something that you would experience or sign up for after, your treatment, but it is considered an option for treatment. So thank you for sharing that. And I also want to point out that, yes, women of color, we know that we're impacted. The disparities are glaring. And so leaning into what Robin said, we can take advantage of these opportunities to participate in research to improve our outcomes. That's ultimately what it's about. And so, yes, Robin, hold some thoughts there because I do have some follow-up questions with you. But in the interim, I know that Dr. Jones has some additional comments she'd like to share. Dr. Jones?
In hearing what you said, Robin, it just spoke so true. And whenever you were speaking, all I could think is, oh my goodness, if only more women knew that clinical trials are not supposed to be an experiment on your life. They're supposed to be an opportunity to enhance your cure. When it comes to cancer care, when it comes to cancer research, it would be unethical for us to do anything that could harm a woman or harm someone. So when we offer clinical trials, what we're offering are opportunities. We are offering enhancing what we already know works. So the word trials to me feels, it just doesn't sound right. It almost feels like these are studies and we should have representation of all women. So that way we can be sure that all women benefit, because at the end of the day, morbidity and mortality, or Black American women, Hispanic women, minority women will have more morbidity. They will not have the same survivorship to breast cancer. And so there's a call to action for us to get these opportunities to all women. So thank you so much, Robin. I just kept thinking, opportunities.
Yep. I concur. And I will tell you, I think trial is a scary word, and it is probably better to frame it as another treatment option that maybe, they're still trying to make sure, but I think it was framed to me that we believe this will keep you around, and that makes a difference. So thank you.
Thank you, Robin. And again, for encouraging the community of survivors and women to community workers just to advocate for more education around clinical studies. I like to use the word studies, which is less intimidating because the more that we participate in this research and these studies, again, to Dr. Jones's point, it's almost like extending olive branches or extending lifelines and opportunities for treatment. Transitioning now back to you, Miss Janice. You have been leading a significant grassroots movement through Angel Surviving Cancer. You're entrenched in the community. You talk to women every day. You help women. And we recently had a meeting last week with some T Hill leaders. And Ms. Janice, you said something that really resonated with me. You're helping women at the bedside, and unfortunately, you're comforting families at the graveside. Really, really strong words. And so my question for you is, what are some words that you would share with survivors and families and caregivers who are really struggling to find their new normal after treatment? Again, based on the work that you're doing, the women and you're helping, the families you're supporting, how do you find that new normal?
So I guess for me, I was thinking as you was talking, I guess for me, the new normal is just really kind of giving yourself grace, and then just kind to that was hard for me navigating through life after breast cancer. How do I do that? Because my story is of 38 years, but again, that was 38 years ago, so they didn't have then what they have now, as far as maintaining the nausea, protecting the heart, and then long term, the BRCA and all of that. They just kind of went straight to doing the surgery, whatever. So the emotional part, a lot of times, it's a loss, especially if you have mastectomy. It's almost like grieving because it's a part of our body, so it's kind of like a loss, and you have to kind of maneuver through that. And then the physical, and then the mental challenges you still have, like you say, we're wife and mothers and daughters, things like you still have your personal life, your church, and your other groups that you may belong to. So just trying to do all of that after the diagnosis of breast cancer and try to come to a happy medium. I think for me, what helped was mostly my faith, my prayer, and then support system, my husband, my son, and then all the family and friends that we have around us. Always have somebody positive around you and just know that you're not alone. That was for me. I thought that I was alone. I thought I was alone. So I think with Angels Surviving Cancer, we really try to let them know you're not alone. And it was for me until I came into another survivor that I was able to move forth and said, okay, now how do I move to be a thriver and to be a thriver? So yeah, I think that's good.
And you are thriving and inspiring women. And I'm so glad that you shared this, Miss Janice, with transparency and vulnerability, that it's an overwhelming journey. You complete your own while you're also helping women, right? And so while you're leading Angels Surviving Cancer, you have to also worry about Janice, yourself, and make sure that you are healthy emotionally, mentally, and physically able to do the work, the community work. And you pointed out something that's an extremely important support system. Lean on your village. It does take a village to support a survivor. So I encourage women or survivors on the Zoom who are watching, lean into your village. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to rest. It's okay to say no. No is a complete sentence. And that's how we are able to protect our peace, protect ourselves, and make sure that we are strong and thriving.
That's right.
Until we're 105. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep you to that.
105. Thank you, Miss Janice.
Well,
back to you, Dr. Jones. You are in the clinical setting. You connect with women day to day. What are follow-up care, screenings, and healthy lifestyle habits that are most important for survivors who want to thrive after diagnosis?
Thank you, Lindsay. And my goodness, how to answer that question whenever we are talking about dramatic changes. So I want to first answer, what are some of the ways that survivorship can be more healthy, or what are the ways that we can live a better lifestyle? But survivorship isn't always about making dramatic changes, because cancer was already a dramatic change and we're navigating that new normal. But instead, what I would encourage anyone on the call is, when we talk about healthy lifestyles, when we talk about implementing exercise, implementing fitness, implementing dietary changes, drastic, sudden, that is not what's going to sustain. But small steps, different ways that we can find together. So as a physician, it's my job to hear more about what does your life look like? What does your diet look like right now? And what are some of the ways that we can talk about different foods or even different ways of eating? Because there's different diets such as intermittent fasting that have been shown, research has shown to reduce the risk of cancer recurrence. But it's not always going to be the same for everybody because it may not fit with everyone's lifestyle. But it's about talking about new habits where we can regain confidence and control of health. And so I want to remind survivors that it's not about just becoming the person you were before cancer. When we talk about diet and we talk about fitness, because we want everyone to do that, it's about building a healthy, meaningful lifestyle through this new experience. And so every woman, whether she's had cancer or not, we should be doing preventative care. We should be monitoring our bone health. We should be talking about mental health and heart health. And depending on her journey, it will be your oncologist's job to work with you to see, are there different scans that you should be getting earlier? So if every woman should be getting her bones monitored, and normally that starts at 55. If a woman has been in her 40s and got chemo, she's going to need to start screening for bone health sooner than she would have had she not had chemo. So survivorship and the new scans that will come with that, all women, if she has breast tissue, should still get yearly breast mammograms. And I see a question in the chat asking about dense breast tissue. And I'd like to take an opportunity to answer that at this time because your yearly breast screening are still so important. And depending on if you have dense breast tissue, new data suggests that breast cancer survivors in their 40s should also be getting breast MRIs. And women who have not had cancer, if you have dense breast tissue, you may qualify for additional scans like ultrasounds. And depending on family history and personal history, you may also qualify for breast MRIs. But that's still, I know, a deep dive, and I'll pause here to see if there's any questions. And thank you, Lindsay, for that one.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Such a lot of information, a wealth of information. I appreciate that you are reminding survivors to get that bone density screenings. That's so important because there's a risk of osteoporosis. I know that in medically induced menopause, I have a higher risk for osteoporosis. So I'm making sure I'm incorporating some weightlifting and strength training as my doctors recommended. We're moving our bodies. In Survivor, one of our initiatives is a wellness initiative. We make sure that we are incorporating physical fitness, yoga. We're hosting a Pilates experience for survivors this month as we celebrate Cancer Survivors Month. But all of that is important, watching our diet. It's preventative care, Dr. Jones, all of which will support and extend, I think, again, that lifeline. We want to thrive until we're what? 105. Oh, that rhymes. Thrive until we're 105. But thank you, Dr. Jones, for that information. Passing now the pink mic to Miss Robin. We talked to Miss Janice about how she is now finding her new normal and how she's really thriving in her 38 years of survivorship. How have you found your new normal after treatment, after participating in the clinical research? What are you doing now to really maintain in survivorship? What's that new normal look like for you?
Yeah. So, I think, well, I would say it's pretty fantastic. Life is great. I think it's really important to probably share that you do have to, and you have to be positive. I mean, I think I remember when I was diagnosed, they make you see a psychologist to determine if you're having any depression or anything around your diagnosis and all that. And, I think I had a particularly positive attitude of I am going to be objective and, understand the science of what's happening to myself. but I'm also going to believe, really believe that I'm going to get better. And I view that I've lived a very positive life, and I would say that but it's not fraught without all of the normal fears. I mean, I particularly, I was scanned a little bit longer, uh, and I am particularly nervous when I have to go get a scan, or if I have an unusual symptom, I can get a little bit nervous. I did have a recurrence uh, about uh, 13 years later, and which was a little bit unusual. And so, I think it's really important not to be afraid. I think you have to be compliant. This is something we don't talk about as people, I think. You need to be compliant in your healthcare. When the doctors tell you to do something, I mean, you probably need to do it because it's going to help with the outcome. But again, I sort of have using Janice's word, I mean, I have a lot of grace for myself and recognize that I'm going to live my life and do all of the things that I think are important. So I'm very much engaged in that art of living. But I absolutely, um, you know, n not that I ever drank a lot, but I might have had more like been more of a martini girl. And after cancer, I became maybe an occasional wine drinker. I do think that our choices impact our health. And so it would be remiss of me not to say that I think it's very important. You need to weight lift, you need to do exercise, walks. We need to eat healthy. Um, Weight is very important, and weight is a misnomer in cancer because breast cancer, through your treatment, you might lose weight, and then all of a sudden you gain weight, and you might not understand, well, why am I gaining weight? But there isn't this lack of hormones. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of physical changes. And I think we have to do all of the things to keep ourselves within the balance of, what is healthy for us. Because it does, I think we would be remiss not to say that it does put you in a bit of a life of uncertainty. You're always going to have, I don't think you should live in fear. Fear is not something that I would ever espouse that you should live in, but I think you should live in awareness that there are impacts. I mean, I had some pretty significant chemotherapies, and there are things that I have to be mindful of. But I will tell you, you just every day have to put one foot in front of the other and think, I am living my life. And I'm honored to serve in this role at the university and to serve young people and to see people advance in their lives. It's those things you have to find what motivates you to keep you going. So long way to answer that question. And then someone in the chat asked about clinical trials. I just want to say that most of the time the doctors will bring it to your attention if it fits your diagnosis. Clinical trials tend to, they're looking for certain profiles of what is available to you. And then in some instances, what a lot of people hear about is they may get to a later stage and then they're looking for a trial to see if there's something that they can potentially do to increase your odds. But most trials come from the physicians, like there's tumor boards and different folks that meet and talk about what is happening to try and get you the best care. So if you have that opportunity, and they're typically paid for, they complement your treatment. You're still paying for your normal treatment and for all of that, but there might be additional testing or additional opportunities that they will pay for through the trial. So I just want to answer that.
A wealth of information. Thank you for sharing that. I learned that information. I did not know that they were there's compensation involved. So that's good to know that that's incentivized. And what I heard from you, Robin, two things: allow yourself grace in survivorship and establish a daily regimen that would include physical fitness, healthy diet, and moderation on that wine because we have to live, right? Let's keep it real. Yes, we know that there are associations with alcohol and increased risk. But in survivorship, we do have to live and celebrate life in moderation. Dr. Jones, and I'm sure you can speak to this briefly, a glass of wine, maybe once a week, in moderation. We want to keep it light, but we want to celebrate and live, ladies. We want to live and thrive. Miss Janice, I see that your hand is raised.
I just had one thing to add to that. Also, it's okay to get help, to get a mental, to get, what I want to say, to get in a group setting and also get help from a clinical professional, a clinical psychologist. It's okay to reach out and get help. That helps a lot.
And mental health therapy certainly helped me during my survivorship journey. And I highly recommend that. And there are affordable options, free options. Ask your patient or nurse navigator to point you in the right direction to get that mental health. Thank you, Ms. Janice, for pointing that out. I want to just ask one final question, a lightning round to all of our panelists. A brief word of hope for our survivors who are watching. What would be your word of encouragement? 30 seconds or less. I'll start with you, Ms. Janice.
Okay. It would be the new normal is embrace it with purpose and gratitude.
I love that. Purpose and gratitude. Wonderful. Dr. Jones, your message of hope.
My message of hope is every day we're getting better and better. And especially as it comes to the real cure comes in prevention. And so not just in making sure it doesn't come back, but I know I'm committed to helping the family members, not just our women, but their children. So my message of hope is there is a cure and we're going to get there. And the cure is in never letting cancer happen. But for those of us that have had it happen, you are not crazy. You are surviving and thriving in a new normal.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for that. Snaps to that. Robin, your message of hope.
I would say that you have to believe that you're going to be okay. You have to trust, and you have to do hard things. You have to do the discipline of all the things to get on the other side of it, and you will get on the other side of it. And I think you'll be far greater on the other side for it. I mean, life does give us curves sometimes, but those curves make us stronger. So I would just say, I think my word would have been gratitude as well. I think you have to be grateful every day for this wonderful gift of life, and that we have medical science that can really help us have a long life.
Thank you, Robin. The present is a present.
Yeah.
I thank all of you for your incredible, thoughtful insights and information. Let's just give a virtual round of applause to all of our panelists. Really shared a lot of information, a wealth of knowledge, and your personal experiences, which sometimes it's not easy to share, but we appreciate the sharing. I'll now turn to our audience questions. We have one from, let's see, I don't know the name, but we do have a question. And that is, what are the biggest surprises you've seen in yourself or others in the survivor community? And I'll direct that to Janice or Robin.
Janice, why don't you take that one?
Okay, trying to unmute. I'm sorry, say the question again.
What are the biggest surprises you've seen in yourself or others in the survivor community?
Not sure what the surprise was. Kind of
I'm happy to share some of the surprises
Okay.
I've seen.
Okay.
I'm constantly surprised with the lack of transparency for how on the rise this is, or what we should be doing for our family members, or why don't we have more emotional support or more mental health resources available for our patients. And so I don't know if anyone else can speak to that, but when a woman is on her journey, I have been very surprised with how hard it is sometimes to get her plugged in because every community is a little different.
It is. I think the surprises is why the community sometimes won't come out, when you're doing like free events or you give them the education. And I know a lot of it is fear. So I think that's probably the biggest surprise that I would talk about, just trying to get the community to come out to get the education. And we're trying to take it to them now, but I just think getting the community to come out.
Yeah, and I will just add this. This could be controversial and we won't open it up, but I will tell you that no one really talks about the impact that it has on your spouse or if you're married and I divorced after cancer, and I would just tell you that it had an impact. And so I had a young adult children as well. There is real impact to your life, um, and you really do have to navigate it. And I think it speaks to it really is important that you're seeking help if you are, yeah, really confronted with any sorts of challenges. But I can just say my husband was terrified. I mean, and it caused him to behave badly, and we're friends now, so it's all good. But I think that's important to say. And there's some data on this. There's like a whole thing on divorce and breast cancer in particular.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Robin. What I understand from statistics, 50% of marriages will survive and 50% will not survive after a woman is diagnosed. And like you, Robin, I did experience divorce after my diagnosis, and I now have what's called a husband. So I want to empower you to use that term.
Oh yeah, husband. There you go.
Husband. But
Love it.
See, we teach and we learn from each other, but that's real. Breast cancer impacts families, spouse, children, mom, dad, aunts, uncles. It impacts the entire family. And that's something that we have to really think about, and making sure that our co-survivors, as they are called, also have the support they need mentally, physically, emotionally to care for the survivors. Dr. Jones, I saw that you had your hand raised.
No, I wanted to echo. It's when, as a physician, I may be taking care of the woman, but I know that there's such an impact on all of the caregivers. We use the word. So doing this research or doing work or being a part of this panel, I am also filled with such gratitude, because this is where we need to lean research more towards finding those areas of support for women and for her family.
That's right. Yeah, that's important.
So very important.
Uh-huh.
So very important. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for saying that. We have one more question from the audience that I want to pose to the panel. Can you share more information about seeking and finding culturally informed care during your journey? More information about seeking and finding culturally informed care during your journey.
I can take a little bit of that question. I think that you have to be direct. If you need an advocate, a culturally, as an African American woman going to the Mayo Clinic, I wanted someone that I felt was going to be in the research with me. So I didn't want to know just what happens to the general population. I wanted the data from the Association of oh my God, the word is escaping me, but I wanted data to know what a pathologist. I wanted the data on the pathology of African Americans, not of the majority of women who, because in terms of Caucasian women, white women, cancer is very prevalent. Breast cancer is very prevalent, and they survive. But I wanted the data. And so I think you have to just be direct. I want an advocate who is going to have the cultural sensitivity, and I think you tap into Lindsay's program, Janice's program, you tap in to organizations that are steeped in knowing the research, knowing who are going to be the more culturally sensitive physicians. I think that's key as well. And understanding that sometimes our makeup is different. It is a misnomer that we are just late diagnosed. That is not true. We have genetic um, components that are different potentially than the other population. I mean, I have a cousin who has BRCA, and I have a gene called PF52, which is Ilfamini, which is not even related. No one tested me for that until actually my father was tested positive. So I think it's really important that you just seek out community. And if you're sitting in front of a physician and you're not feeling like you're connecting with them, you should ask that healthcare system to give you an advocate that will listen to you. I can't express this enough. Do not go to these doctors by yourself.
That's right. That's
Just
right.
don't. You got to have somebody, phone a friend. I mean, anyone who's clear-headed and who can write everything down and really process the information, because oncologists, as I think Dr. Jones can speak, they speak sometimes in data. And data sounds great, except it may not apply to you. And then you're over here doing something that's not working. I know so many women who did treatment protocols, their cancer grew. The tumors got bigger and then rushed to surgery and then to MD Anderson so they could get culturally sensitive care. And I do think seeking out cancer centers matters. I'm sorry, I'm passionate about you get to the very best of what you can get to.
That's right. That's right.
So in
Robin.
Houston, you got MD Anderson. Why go anywhere else?
Thank you so much, Robin, for just really encouraging survivors and women to advocate for the best. We all deserve the best care and treatment. And it's important that we, again, lean into the navigators, the patient navigators, nurse navigators, and our support systems to help us really absorb all the information. It is a lot of data. It is overwhelming. We are really just trying to focus on, am I going to live, right?
Right.
And so we need that second and third person to lean on, to listen for us when we're in that pink haze of information. And so I'm so glad that you raised that point. Miss Janice, did you have a final comment? You're over there
Just from
amening and
I
yesing.
know. Just for what you were saying too, yes, and that's how they learn to be advocates for themselves, where they can learn what questions they can ask themselves by taking somebody with them and understanding. But again, just like Ms. Watson said, be an advocate for yourself, learn and know for yourself the questions to ask. That's all. Thank you.
Great
Thank you so
advice.
much.
Great advice. As we come to a close, I again want to thank our panelists. Thank you, Ms. Janice. Thank you, Ms. Robin. Thank you, Dr. Jones, for your expertise, your honesty, your lived experiences. Today's conversation reminds us that survivorship is not simply about living after cancer, it's about learning to thrive after cancer. So, in my final words, I want to encourage every woman to live her breast healthiest life. I will now pass the pink microphone to Dr. Obo to offer closing remarks.
And I received the pink microphone. Thank you so much, Lindsay. You did an amazing job. An amazing job. I really appreciate it. I think this conversation could probably go on for another 30 minutes if we're not careful. But to respect everyone's time, I think we might have to do an encore, a part 2 of this. But Dr. Jones, you seem to be nodding so much, and I feel like you want to say 1 or 2 more things. I'm fine with that. If you're good.
No, I'm good. I was just thinking, everything that they said plus more, because you're right. There's not enough time. There's a lot that we just don't know yet.
Yeah, but thank you so much. Thank you and to our audience that joined us, thank you. I believe we answered every question except one. So we're going to try to get that last question answered and get back to you on that. But I'm just going to move along in the interest of time. Just a few more reminders to our community health workers. If you want to get that free 1 credit hour of unaccredited of CE credit, please complete the survey and the evaluation. The QR code is there, and we've been putting the links occasionally in the chat as well. We are currently streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so we want to thank you to the audience that has joined us for this impactful session. But just one quick note or reminder: even when this is over, this session is going to live live on our YouTube site. So just by clicking on, by using the QR code to go to our link tree and whatnot, you can go to our Facebook page and our YouTube page and listen to this or share this with to somebody else you think might benefit from this session. Just a few more things coming up. We already have our calendar for 2026 and 27 out, and these are monthly themes in there. For the interest of time, I'm not going to touch on each month, but our next Q2 session is going to be our annual We Row Against Breast Cancer event taking place on TSU campus on Friday, October 30th, and it's going to be over 3 hours. And education session will take place, a panel discussion will take place, as well as honoring breast cancer survivors. So please do join us. We're going to have quite a number of vendors on there. Immunization will take place. Screening as well will take place, and no-cost biometrics and blood pressure, blood glucose screenings will take place. So we have a host of partners we have partnered with. Harris County Public Health will be there. CVS Aetna, I believe, will be there as well. So please, we look forward to an engaging session come October. Again, just more, if you know of anyone who would like to partner with us in providing preventative services as well as mammogram screening services, please feel free to let them to point them over to our direction. And again, if you're interested, you've heard so much about clinical research or clinical trials and their benefits. Please, if you're interested, the QR code is there to let you contact us and reach out to us. And again, it's been a pleasure having this panel session. I think, like I said, we're going to have a part 2 of this. Ms. Lindsay, please block out your calendar because I'm going to be emailing you again for next year, June. And in front of how many people, I'm letting you know now. But thank you all, Miss Janice. Thank you all. Thank you, Miss Humphreys Watson, and thank you as well to Dr. Jones for your time. Thank you to everyone who made our time this 1 hour to be with us. And I'm signing off. Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Veronica, Program Director of Texas Southern University's Breast Cancer Screening and Prevention Center, where we transform women's health in breast cancer care and provide mental health services in underserved communities.
In the past 3 years, we have provided mammograms to over 1,400 women.
We have reached women in their neighborhoods through mobile mammogram services,
eliminating barriers like transportation costs and access to care.
Our holistic approach doesn't just stop at screenings. We provide navigation, care coordination, and treatment assistance, ensuring no woman is left behind.
We also provide breast health education in diverse languages, addressing anxiety, concerns, and misconceptions about mammograms.
We have established a vast network of over 100 partners, received 5 proclamations, and fully executed over 10 memorandums of understanding.
What sets us apart is our grassroots engagement. We build trust in our community, combining cutting-edge technology with personalized care.
Our vision is to expand our reach and ensure equitable access to breast and mental health services to underserved women.
We believe in saving lives,
strengthening our communities, advancing health equity
for all women.